Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. I have to admire Image Entertainment. They have a distinct knack for acquiring the rights to long-forgotten horror movies and giving them a new audience on DVD. They also have a tendency of throwing DMCA claims my way, but never mind that for a second. Ironically, the other bad point I have to say about Image is the image quality of the DVDs they distribute. Although this may be caused by how much my DVD ripping software has to decrypt their heavily encoded copy-protected video files, still, monsters are far less scary when they consist of masses of colored blocks. You'd think Image of all companies would be a little more lenient about copy protection, practically the professional beggar of the distribution world, owning the rights to all sorts of productions that they had absolutely no part in making, including one gem where the beggars are the monsters. Released in 1984, Chud wasn't received particularly well by most critics, but did get a good response in the New York Times and is widely regarded as a cult classic. In it, citizens of New York are hunted by a mysterious subterranean monster, and the people must learn how to combat them and what caused them to appear in the first place. It's kind of a basic setup, and a generic backdrop. But then again, the original Predator wasn't well received by critics either, so maybe there's more to see here. So, let's take a look at Chud and see just what's on the menu. The film opens up to a woman completely alone walking her dog in the middle of a city street, in the middle of the night. Even if this weren't a horror movie, that's still a really stupid idea. She doesn't notice the dry ice fog effects until it's too late. Oh, it's just like Cinderella, except she's dead. So, we're going to be taking that shoe down to the morgue for a fitting? Oh! Never mind that then. We start introducing the important characters with George Cooper, played by John Hurd, whom you may recognize from his role as Peter McAllister in Home Alone. Here he's a photographer and live-in boyfriend of model Lauren Daniels, played by Kim Greist.
It's a perfume ad, remember?
And what are you wearing in this perfume ad?
Perfume.
It's kind of surprising that he wouldn't know about this, A, being her live-in boyfriend, and B, not only being a photographer, but the photographer of this perfume ad. But evidently he didn't know and is not keen on this shoot, but she is insistent. Unable to find her jewelry box, she descends into the cellar looking for it.
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the Wireless Instabulb, the battery-operated light bulb that you can install without an electrician.
As she searches, odd noises can be heard from the steel trap door that conveniently leads into the sewers. Woman, have you no shame? You must heed the call to the sounds of metal! The next scene introduces us to Christopher Curry playing the role of Captain Bosch. It's obvious that, of course, something is going on he wants to get to the bottom of, and the higher-ups want nothing to do with it.
I know that, but if you know that, then you know there's nothing I can do about it. You've got your orders, Bosch, and I'll carry them out.
Duty calls, though, as a homeless woman was caught trying to steal a gun. She might have had an easier time getting away with it if it wasn't for the fact that she was trying to steal a gun out of a police officer's holster. Don't worry, this isn't the stupidest thing anyone does in this movie. Bosch is the good cop, though, so he points out that the woman is entitled to a phone call. Never mind the justice system, though, it's back to our couple at the photo shoot, with George getting quite into it.
Come on. Ooh, what style? What content? Oh, what art? Oh, my God, I love this profession.
Dude, calm down. It's your girlfriend, not a rack of lamb. But actually, he's quite upset, and in my opinion, quite unprofessional, as he works hard to make sure neither he nor his girlfriend get paid.
I am upset because these people are using your body and draping it with the carcass of some helpless little field mouse to sell some worthless perfume which probably smells like sheep dip. What are you shishing me for? They know it, they made it, they can smell, they know what's in it, and they know what it takes to sell it.
One question. How good of a photographer is he supposed to be that his employers are willing to deal with this kind of shit from him? Somehow he's not fired right then and there, and his girlfriend explains to him the concept of money, which gets him to agree to continue. However, upon checking his voicemail, who would happen to call him but the homeless gun thief? As she can't wait, he secures being a complete professional fuck-up. After all, we can't risk leaving her in police care for too long. They might feed her or something. Back at the precinct, though, the benevolent Bosch catches wind of a missing persons report from C.H.U.D. Shepard, played by Daniel Stern, who you probably recognize from Home Alone. Wait a minute, how the hell many actors from Chud ended up doing Home Alone? Anyway, Shepard runs a soup kitchen and is not too pleased to see that Bosch is the one who responded to his call.
I didn't call up your precinct so they would send you down here so I could hear your two-bit opinion of my life, all right?
Well, shit, what kind of standards does Bosch hold people to if someone feeding the homeless is considered... Wait, he doesn't ascribe to Ayn Rand, does he? Nevertheless, AJ explains to him that 12 of his regulars haven't shown up for over 2 weeks, and that would be all of the undergrounders except for one man, so Bosch moves to question said man.
Val, I understand you used to live underground. What made you change your mind?
On each side of the throne, there are 4 living creatures filled with eyes in front and behind.
Creatures?
Oh, don't worry, he's just describing heaven. Revelation chapter 4, verse 8. And the 4 beasts had each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within. And they rest not day and night, saying, Holy, holy, holy Lord God Almighty, which was and is to come. Wait, is that heaven or is that hell?
Now listen, pal.
They have the power to shut the sky.
Where the hell did he get a knife like that?
The best knife sharpener money can buy. It's so precise, it'll turn this plastic credit card into a precision cutting instrument.
AJ lets him know that all the undergrounders have become concerned with getting weapons, and he rather quickly takes his leave. At this time, George is bailing out the gun thief because, obviously, they didn't have near enough to hold her. She brings him back to their shanty town, which is practically abandoned for some reason, and her brother, who wanted the gun in the first place, isn't looking so hot.
What do you want a gun for, Victor?
Shoot them.
Shoot who?
Ugly fuckers.
What ugly fuckers?
The monsters! What monsters? In the tunnels! What tunnels? Shut the fuck up! What up? It turns out that whatever is down there has already gotten quite the chunk out of Victor. Well, whatever did that must not have been very hungry. Seriously, do you really think he could have run like that? But it's back with Bosch and Shepard, as the captain came back after hours to get more information out of AJ. Such interest in the welfare of the homeless makes AJ question the cops' motivations.
Tell me who's missing, Bosch. We lose the mayor down there? Or the president? Or your mom disappear?
My wife.
No, actually it was his wife. Seriously, the person who died in the first scene, Laurie Matos, is really, in real life, the wife of Daniel Stern. Now cooperative with the officer, AJ rattles off the names of several undergrounders George previously photographed. How this helps the investigation, I don't know, but anyway, he goes on to ask Bosch about the EPA's probe. However...
So this year it's been going on for 4 weeks, and it's still going on. Didn't you know that?
Well, considering it's a subterranean inspection, I could see how it could slip under his radar. Quite literally. As he shows off a few of the nuclear trinkets that have turned up as of late, a random man we've never seen before happens to be alone in the street with his granddaughter.
Hey, what do you guys want to eat?
Awesome! She'll get to meet the Ninja Turtles!
Cowabunga, dude.
The little girl goes to the police, and they laugh at her pain, except for Bosch, who proceeds to move heaven and earth to crack the case, even if, as of right now, he has next to no evidence of any kind, let alone conclusive, but never mind that. He does search George's home with the help of his sidekick AJ, without a warrant, and luckily enough, it turns out that the photographer did have his camera with him last time he went underground, so they at least have something. Highly circumstantial, but hey, it's something.
All right, Captain. Guess this is your meeting. It had better be good.
Ooh, just by his face, you can tell. He knows he's fucked. Still, though, he launches accusations of the missing persons being murdered and there being a cover-up by the NRC because, hey, they've got a boot! Obviously, this is insufficient, so AJ produces the photographs that finally get their attention. Turns out they were moving some radioactive material until some jerks came along and ordered them to stop.
You see, it's already here. The order is preventing us from moving it out.
Government, always keeping an eye on the most important thing. Semantics! AJ leads the interrogation with surprising skill, and all his questions are ignored, so he just says fuck it and starts throwing shit around and storms out of there.
Chud?
What?
C.H.U.D.
Well, that's just great. They left the script on the table in the middle of the scene. Wilson quickly takes the script back, but it's too late, and the other characters want to know what the title of the movie is supposed to mean. He plainly explains that he can't tell without proper clearance, but in less than a minute anyway.
A cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller. A chud, all right?
Damn! I was hoping it meant Cannabis Herbs Unlimited Distribution. Wilson also called to make sure AJ can't make it to the press with the pictures, so... Ew. Does he realize where that quarter has been? But Wilson is nothing if not inconsistent, so he brings the rest of the guys along to see the body of one of the monsters, which we only get to see via a reflection.
How do you know there aren't more of those things down there?
Of course there aren't any more. It was a freak accident. It couldn't happen again.
Dude, hold up. This isn't an asylum movie. They can afford more than one monster. Never mind that, though. Of course, it's time for the authorities to do something completely stupid, so Wilson sends down a team to commence the cleanup. Bosch isn't taking any chances, though, and sends down his own team armored with sci-fi flamethrowers. Because, after all, since the last monster died from a gas leak, you may as well use the most dangerous weapon possible. Naturally, they run into something down there, which they open fire on before even getting visual confirmation as to what it is. Fortunately, or unfortunately, it was one of the monsters, which evidently are immune to fire and make short work of the team.
Parker? Parker! Parker!
Upon returning home, George realizes he can't find his photographs, so instead of just taking the film that we can assume is still there and developing more, he thinks that Murphy broke in and stole them, and he intends to get them back. Oh, who's Murphy? Well, there were a bunch of scenes earlier with Murphy talking to George about all this stuff with the police trying to do this big cover-up and all this exposition that was all stuff we already knew, so I didn't think it was really needed.
I don't have your pictures. The police have your pictures.
Police, you still putting out that crap? Why would the police take my photograph?
Because there's a cover-up going on.
Cover-up? You write this political bullshit? Cover-up of what?
I don't know, because I don't know what was in those photographs, but I know the only way to find out is for us to get down there.
You want to go down there?
Yeah, I want to get down there.
Well, since George took those photos, he doesn't need to go down there to figure out what it was a cover-up of, but and again, if we point that out, he'll miss the climax. Wilson is also busy making sure he's as big an asshole as possible, prepping to fill the sewers with gas.
Are you crazy? You'll blow up the whole city. I'm not going to flood the whole city, only a section of Soho.
Besides, it's a shitty neighborhood. If things go wrong, just put a golf course there or something. His plan starts in just about immediately, as we can see with Shepard's gas problem. He heads down to warn the last undergrounder, whom is promptly murdered as Mr. Sunglasses locks him down in the sewers as well. So if he was willing to kill him and others in order to keep him silent, then why didn't he just kill him while he was alone in the soup kitchen earlier? Never mind that anyway. We don't see Mr. Sunglasses at all for the rest of the movie. Yep. Similarly, we won't see Murphy either after this scene.
I told you, I didn't want any more of this bullshit. I mean, I have to beat down...
Shit! Guys, we're an hour into the movie. Can we get a slightly better view of the monsters yet? That works. Thanks! They also get a good view of Shepard, but this is interrupted so we can watch Lauren open up the sewer entrance for no apparent reason, then have to go down there to retrieve her photo album, but also finds... And why did the monsters not eat this creature, but instead hang it up? Were they making jerky? She immediately calls the police and requests a dispatch. As she is distraught and expecting company, there's no better time than now to take a shower. Naturally, this attracts the movie's monster, who then clogs the drain. Somehow. I didn't know they had that power, but whatever. She takes a wire hanger to loosen it, but then... what the hell did I just watch? Was that a dream sequence? Was it metaphorical? What? But as word spreads around the sewers of a rather popular diner that John Goodman recommends, the monsters waste no time coming by for a little snack. I suppose that beats getting takeout for the umpteenth time. This garners considerable police attention, and Wilson is there to ensure that the monsters can't resurface, parking trucks over every manhole on the street.
Remember, those trucks are rigged to explode on impact from below, so watch the potholes.
Awful strange feature to have on your blockade trucks. And spoken conveniently when you can't see his mouth. George isn't looking so hot, but after reaching Victor, we find that he's begun to mutate as well. After putting him out of his misery, we get some of the least exciting combat on film.
You killed my brother.
This makes a sneeze look like kung fu. But it's AJ come to save the day, and conveniently keep all the important characters together. Which I do appreciate. This thing hasn't exactly been easy to edit up to this point. Back with Lauren, we see that the shower is over, there's no blood anywhere, and she never speaks of that scene again. Wait, hold up. That doesn't make this a blue thong. Oh, but the monster did appear during that scene, so it technically made it important to the plot. So upon learning from the TV how the gas will be diverted into the sewer, and somehow knowing that that's where her boyfriend ended up, Lauren is now trapped in her home. Monster on one side, fire escape on the other, and... Wait, why the hell doesn't she just use the fire escape? The police finally show up, so at least she has some hope that... Never mind, they were just the appetizer course. Back in the sewers, though, we learn what the title of the movie actually stands for.
Contamination hazard urban disposal. This is Wilson's poison dump.
It turns out it wasn't stuck there. That was its destination all along, because high population areas are always the best locations to put your landfills. More importantly, they find the bits and pieces of the team from earlier, and using the camera and headset, which somehow still have working batteries, in 1984, contact Captain Bosch. You can start taking bets on how much Mr. Wilson is going to care that innocent people might get hurt. With Lauren, cutting the power proves useless for stopping the creatures, but it does make it harder to see them and really brings out their eyes. I have to stop here and ask something, though. I mean, living in the sewers, smooth green skin, 3 fingers, and mutants. Were they trying to make a horror version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? She finds a scimitar, somehow, and the creature is kind enough to stretch its neck out, making a decapitation so much easier. Total bummer! Bosch confronts Wilson about everything, and demands the keys to the truck blocking his friend's escape. Wilson has no intention of helping, but...
Have to.
Wow, that was almost as exciting as flipping a pancake. Wilson runs off after Bosch as he moves the truck and goes to free the men. However... Fortunately, in New York City, within walking distance from a crowd and in the middle of the street, there were no witnesses. They get out, so he tries his best to mow them down anyway, because all bad guys have to be batshit insane by the end of the movie. Shepard swipes the captain's gun and lands a bullet in Wilson, right before this happens. Because the fact that they said over a dozen times that the sewers were filled with gas wouldn't hope to explain the explosion. No. Only cars specifically designed to blow up whenever they hit a bump make sense. Thus, the story comes to a close, with Wilson dead and Bosch still alive and well, despite seeming dead for most of the scene. And the creatures? They were all roasted. Wait a minute. Didn't the flamethrowers do nothing to them earlier in the movie? I mean, it's fire, isn't it? Oops. Well, that was Chud, and it's actually pretty complicated. Those who already know the movie probably can tell I skipped tons of scenes, but for the purposes of a review, I really can't cover every single point and keep it within fair use. That being said, there was so much going on in this movie, it was difficult to try to even fit all the so-called important points into a review of this style, but, well, I tried. Despite its complexities, it's still pretty easy to follow the film itself. Slight gripes I have are that certain characters really seem to come in merely to serve their purpose to the plot and are never seen again, but most of the cast give entertaining performances. I especially liked Graham Beckel as the Undergrounder Val. He was beautifully batshit crazy in every scene he was in. The monsters, though, seemed kind of basic. I guess that's why they kept them hidden throughout most of the movie, but nevertheless, despite a simple design, the animatronics at work were relatively good. Overall, Chud is an interesting take on a basic concept with some plot twists and good acting, but is hurt by some logical flaws and considerably less than stellar action in some scenes, pulling off 4 barrels of radioactive sludge out of 5. Also, 5 years later, a sequel was made, Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Of course, in Chud 1 we learned that Chud stands for Contaminated Hazard Urban Disposal, so... oh well. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, in the case of a mutant apocalypse, the police are delicious.
You'll blow up the whole city. I'm not going to flood the whole city, only a section of Soho.